Sonic 3 just recently hit theaters about a month ago, and oh my lord was this little black-headed edgelord on demon time. Justifiably so. But still, this dude was really trying to wipe the entire planet off of the galactic map. Before I get into the heavy details of Shadow's character and his completely ridiculous crash outs, yes, crash outs, plural, I just want to preface this by saying there will obviously be spoilers in this video. I'll just have something pop up on the screen or some chapters or whatever, so you guys who don't want to have the movie spoiled can still kind of watch the video. Alright, with that out of the way, let's start talking about the YN of the Sonic franchise. Shadow's always been my favorite Sonic character, and honestly, 8-year-old me had good taste. Edgelord, chaos powers, anti-hero, tragic backstory, he's the whole package. I actually came into the theaters praying that they didn't butcher his character in the movie, and man oh man, they nailed it. So in the movie, Shadow basically had a similar backstory to Sonic in the first movie. Hedgehog appears randomly and it gets found. That's kind of all they have in common though, to be real. While Sonic got found by a family, Shadow got captured by the government and put to work at a military base because of his unique chaos energy. Listen, I'm not going to say it was racial profiling, but dude, come on. Shadow, the darker colored hedgehog, both in fur and skin, got put to work, and Sonic, the lighter colored hedgehog, got out scot-free. Pretty sketchy if you ask me. Anyway, while at the base, he meets the professor's granddaughter Maria, and she's pretty much the only person to ever treat my boy right. Of course, they become friends, and then a few months later, the base explodes and she dies. Some dumbass guard thought it was a good idea to shoot the chaos energy containers, and because he does, the entire base explodes, killing Maria. To cover it up, the military captures the professor and incubated Shadow for 50 years. Yes, 5-0. The worst part about this whole thing is that bro was still alive and thinking. So now he's floating around in an oversized test tube, seething with anger and plotting his get back on the guys who got Maria killed. Surely an angry, captured, vengeful hedgehog with chaos energy wouldn't cause any trouble, right? His ass escaped, and jumped the fuck out of every other guard that was around him too. So that angry, captured, vengeful hedgehog is now out and about in Shibuya, and all of Gun HQ wants to get Shadow back into his cage. Obviously, they can't do shit against my guy, and they need to call in the big guns, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, who get called in by Gun to go help out and jump Shadow too. Now, little flashback here, just remember that we saw Knuckles fuck up Sonic crazy in the last movie. So we all thought that when the trio pulled up, Shadow was going to get sent right back to that test tube that he came from. But then he said this.
You're a colorful bunch.
Oh, shit. Yeah, they're cooked. Whenever a character ever says some crazy shit like that, you already know they're going to back it up. Knuckles, being the brawler he is, decides it's a good idea to run the ones with Shadow, and that could not have been a worse decision. Shadow teleports in front of him and catches his punch. Keep in mind, this is Knuckles we're talking about here. He immediately folds him, and Sonic and Tails try to rush to the rescue. Shadow immediately poofs behind Tails and kicks the living shit out of him. I just want to say that this hit looked so personal for no reason. Like, damn, Shadow, what'd that fox do to you, bro? Long story short, Shadow absolutely wipes the floor with Team Sonic and escapes to God knows where, while Sonic is handcuffed to a rail like he's about to get Whoa, that's too far. So after this absolute beatdown by Shadow, the Sonic buddies find out that somebody stole Eggman's tech to bust Shadow out of prison in the first place, and they have to team up with Eggman to figure out who it was. They both have a common enemy, so there's no way Sonic could get betrayed by Eggman. They figure out that the tech came from the old abandoned military base that Shadow used to live in, which is really, really sketchy. Of course, in classic horror movie fashion, they split up. Great idea, guys. This totally won't backfire in any way. Knuckles is out here searching by himself, and of course, in the split second he looks away, Shadow's ass comes out like Batman and one-taps him. Same thing happens to Tails and Sonic individually, and then they wake up to being tied together with Eggman and his grandfather in front of him. Yeah, that's right, that professor from 50 years ago whose granddaughter died is also Eggman's grandfather. As a surprise to literally nobody, Eggman turns on Team Sonic to go rule the world with his gramps. And on their way out, Shadow throws a black hole at Team Sonic. What the fuck? Where do you even get a mini black hole from in the first place? Walmart? Home Depot? Also, seeing that made it crystal clear that Shadow does not have a no-kill rule at all. He was literally willing to completely erase Sonic and his buddies from existence for no reason. Again, Team Sonic has not done anything directly to Shadow, but just the fact that they came in a gun helicopter was enough for him to be willing to wipe them out. How much worse can this possibly get? A lot worse. A whole lot worse. Keep in mind, we don't know what Unk Eggman is planning, but we do know Shadow is involved, and from what we've already seen, this guy has some crazy destructive capability. He damn near destroyed half of Shibuya out of pure spite earlier in the movie, so at this point, I'm thinking he's just, he's probably going to destroy Gun HQ, or like the Pentagon, or something like that. But then, spoiler alert, Egg Unk tells them about an orbital laser that he designed for Gun while he was in prison to be able to get out, and that Shadow's job is to power it. They need 2 access keys to use it though, and the other key is at Gun HQ. I'm going to kind of gloss over the details of the heist here, but long story short, Tom actually ends up getting his hands on the key while posing as the general who runs Gun using Tails' holograph tech. Now just remember for a second, this general that he's posing as is the same general that ran the military base that Shadow was in. And of course, Shadow doesn't exactly have the fondest memories of this guy. And guess who Tom, still disguised, runs into? Shadow sees this guy and Superman punches him so hard he not only breaks the holograph tech, but knocks dude completely unconscious, probably breaking a few ribs in the process. A few seconds later, Sonic rushes over to see Tom completely slept while Shadow is still standing over his body, and he is absolutely going through it. Shadow leaves Sonic to mourn his possibly dead foster dad to go join the Eggmen on the orbital laser, and Sonic starts to get really angry. Before the heist started, Team Sonic agreed to not use the Master Emerald because it's too powerful and has to be kept safe and out of people's hands. But as soon as he sees Tom on that ambulance stretcher getting wheeled off, he immediately goes straight for the Emerald. Shadow literally converted this dude into a crash out, and his reasoning for doing so was,
What did you do? What I had to.
like, no, bro, you really didn't have to. Now, because I'm not a terrible person, and I also want you guys to go watch the movie yourselves, I'm making the executive decision to not spoil the entire ending, because it's really, really good. But here's what I will say. Sonic goes Super Saiyan and flies up to space in pure rage to wipe out Shadow. And Shadow is holding his own pretty well in the beginning. This is base Shadow, by the way. So when he steals the power of the Master Emerald from Sonic, by hitting him so hard all 7 emeralds pop out of his chest, I was in absolute disbelief. He literally knocks the rings out of him. Long story short, Sonic somehow wins, plot, and spares Shadow, and Shadow redeems himself. That's all I'm going to say about the ending though, because the rest of it is genuinely peak cinema that I can't let myself spoil. But let's just go over what this absolute menace has accomplished in his 2 hours on screen. Slept every guard in the gun facility he was being held at, wiped the floor with all of Team Sonic not once but twice, threw a mini black hole at said team, damn near killed a human with 1 punch out of pure spite, and converted Sonic, a pretty chill hedgehog, into a crash out who was willing to break promises for the Master Emerald just to have a chance to fight Shadow with enough power to win, while also knocking the Master Emerald out of a powered up Sonic. What a debut resume for Shadow, and he absolutely did the Sonic Cinematic Universe unbelievably dirty. Too bad he don't got his bitch back though.